Okay, here we go. His gate is open. Oh, God. Oh, God, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? This is the world's stupidest thing ever. Oh, my God, this is the world's stupidest thing. I came to go to meeting with you. Is it tonight? Oh, what night is it?
Wednesday.
Okay. Do you happen to have anything to eat?
Yeah.
Can I have something to eat? I'm sorry, I got so upset.
Excuse the mess. I'm working, but.
Can I have a hug?
Huh?
I missed you. I'm sorry, I got so upset. I just didn't know those things.
You feeling better?
No,
Yeah.
I love you so much. We just need to talk.
What's it say? What do you want?
It doesn't matter, it's anything. I read a couple of these. I've read a couple of these.
Yeah, that's the last one I got. This one was really good about angels. What was the deal with that lady that called?
She's just a friend. I'm sorry, Krista. She's just a friend because she knew that I had a few circumstances when I was in a parking lot where people were like trying to get in the car.
Yeah.
And so she just
Well,
knew I
that
was in
lady
that
is
spot.
wacko.
Oh yeah. I only knew her because she's in town, and I talked to her about a couple of just the questions I had, and that's how I got to know her. Like, she just helped me. She's real good with knowing the Bible and everything, so.
Yeah.
I called a few elders, but they never called back.
That lady is definitely wacko. She called me one at a time. On a Saturday, she wanted to talk. She wanted to witness.
Oh, yeah? I didn't know she was into
And
that.
First thing she started to do was talk against the society, and then she was trying to quote the website, and well, you know what things she was saying. 'Cause you actually said some of the same things yourself.
Oh, the things that I got off of were on the internet, so there's mainly like only certain topics that they talk about, so she
Yeah,
must have
well,
looked at the same thing.
She said similar things.
I found this. Remember this? Remember it?
I kind of do.
You gave it to me.
That is from
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering what happened to all them, truly.
Do you remember that letter? Remember how we couldn't remember what that letter was about?
Yeah, well, I
Remember?
never got a copy of it. I was just told.
That he did.
Yeah.
Remember when he had us backed up into the library? You were going to drop off your Kingdom Hall key, and Mom was like, "You're not going to go by yourself," and so she was going to go with you. I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to be left home alone, so I'm going with you."
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a fight and like a thing between like And you. And Mom was in it. And then got me up against the door. You remember this?
I remember something he wanted you to tell about in the contribution box.
He wanted me to tell?
Yeah, because you and Mom had seen her go over, and
That was the time before.
that was the time before.
Because he wanted to keep that quiet. I remember we were all there, and then I had to say what the purse looked like and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was way before.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was stupid. You know,
Yeah. Well, okay, this is what I remember. Like, I've been, like, having lots of memories about that. And I never remember. Do you remember him much?
Yeah.
Okay. He was a weirdo.
Different.
Uh-huh. Well, I have some memories that I'm hoping you remember, just so I can know what was really going on. He had me up against the door that when you're dropping off the key, and he goes, I don't care what, you're not going to get away with it. And it was like, what do you mean not get away with, you know, like, and I remember being like, yes, I am. And then we like walked out. But it was like, I don't remember why he was saying, I'm not going to get away with it. And I was thinking back to like all the different stuff. And I remember, like, I mean, this, you remember how he was weird about those trains and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he loved trains, yeah.
And would always like try and manipulate you guys. She was just a manipulator. Remember when Mom said, you know, she's like, she always tries to get something from me. She always wants something.
Yeah.
And ask
If
and
nothing
ask.
else, she would get the shopper. Just so she got
that's
something.
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Doing something.
If nothing else, the last thing, can I get a shopper?
Well, he used to do the same stuff to you. Like, he used to always try, he'd always want you to do something where he didn't have to. Yeah, I remember them. Oh, like a lot of stuff about them. And I remember one time, and this is really weird. Well, remember, like, during the meetings, this is one weird, like, why can't we remember? Because he was all into that, like, Asian medicine and stuff. You know, he was all into that, and so was me. And you used to say during, and I can't remember if that was, if it was here or there, and we made a joke about it, but you'd always fall asleep, like, during the meeting. And you'd be like, oh, you know, what did I learn during my nap? Remember you say, what did I learn during my nap? You're such a turkey. It's like, not only, how dare you fall asleep, but do you remember saying, like, it's almost like I get hypnotized during the meeting?
My mind would be like a ball of cotton. I couldn't think.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I couldn't even talk.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And
I was into that kind of thing.
yeah.
Remember that bell? Ding! And then he'd click his pen,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd say, "Oh, it always really startles me, like I was asleep, and it startles me awake." And then we started getting to paying attention. And do you remember after one meeting? I remember you said something. You were like, something, my belt's all funny. My belt's all loop funny. And Mom's like, my dress is all weird. And then I started to cry in the backseat of the car.
I don't remember that. Yeah. No, I try not to think about any of that stuff because
Yeah, I remember.
I was just so glad when we were going to leave. You know, I thought maybe I'd feel bad from leaving the congregation,
Yeah.
but no, it was.
It was a terrible situation.
And when people were jealous, like was jealous.
Oh, it was awful. He was just so easy. He was just such an easy liar. It would just come out of his mouth. Like,
Yeah.
if he believed it, it wasn't a lie to him. Do you remember all of a sudden the term garbage dump? I remembered something about Mom talking about something about the garbage dump. Do you remember going back to And you found a bunch of old books at the garbage dump? I remember I
Too.
went through them. I remember seeing the name Jehovah in one of them. I remember taking it to Mom. I'm like, look, isn't that cool? And there was that's what got me to remember, because there was something in that book that caused a bunch of turmoil. I don't remember what it was, but I remember seeing it. I was just wondering if you, like, what book that, would cause an uproar. But then, remember, was supposed to mail all of our literature, old literature, to Bethel, like they asked, but then he threw them away, and then you found them there too. I remember that as a story. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and
No.
then there were some other books who threw them out, and there were some other books that were with his books, and you were like, you gotta remember this, because there was another box of books with his books, and you took them all with you to back home, because you're like, we can build our own library. Remember, and then we had a huge library of all the old stuff. We really had extensive Watchtower library.
Yeah, I still have some of them.
Yeah, and so then there was that other box, which was with all the boxes, because I remember you confronted, and you're like, all of these boxes of books in the same types of boxes, and there's that other box of books, and it was like they were all together, the same boxes, in the same dump, like, because he wanted to say, oh, that wasn't my box of books. The Watchtower books are right, because you found some books that weren't appropriate. But they were Freemasonry books. And that was one of the books. But I remember, didn't you found out Tom was a Freemason? You remember that? You're saying with the
They
carpet
might have had
business.
an Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
There was a
Mm-hmm.
Knights of Columbus, because we had our sales in there.
Oh,
In that
okay.
building. They had
Oh, I
a
remember
hall
that.
we rented.
I remember that. Yeah, and that's what, that was during Masonic lodges. Yeah, I remember that scandal. I hadn't thought of that in years. Yeah. I remember you getting upset because you thought he was hypnotizing us during the meeting. You honestly did. And I was wondering, is that why we don't remember, like, what went on? And why I started to remember, because I wasn't very susceptible to it. And I remember telling you guys about stuff, like when your belt was weird and Mom's dress was weird. And I remember breaking down in the car saying, you guys, I thought you guys were playing along. I didn't realize what was going on. But then said that if I said anything, I would be in trouble. And he says, if you say anything about what you saw today, I'll make sure that your parents never love you again. And I remember sitting in the back of the car thinking, I just saw what he did. And maybe you'll remember if I say it like I did as a little girl. I was like, I thought you guys were playing along. I thought you were being funny. He made you be Laurel and Hardy, how you would do that. And I thought he asked you, he's like, do this, and then you did it, and I thought you guys were just playing along. But I told him, I said, you guys, he's like, he stood on the stage with a broomstick, like Moses. And with the burning, he used the microphone stand as the snake thing, and he made you all pretend that you were snake bitten. But you weren't. I thought you were pretending, but you all. Grandma was like, she had her stupid house dress, and I remember Mom going, oh, and she's like, she got bit on the ankle, and then you like dropped, like you were like dropping dead, and he's like, worship me, and you all start. It was just, and I'm sitting there, and y'all like are like crawling, but didn't. Was doing what he was doing and like slid off his chair, and I thought he hurt himself because I was like, he's old, and it was just the most bizarre thing. And then y'all were kind of in a pile up on the stage, and I remember telling you this, and you Mom said, she goes, pull over, and we sat there, and it was like beside a field, and I told y'all, and I'm like, and he said, and he'll make sure that you never love me again. And Mom, she reached back and she's like, honey, we would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I just saw what he made you do. And then you said, well, you know what? I have been feeling like that at meetings, and I have been this and that. And then Mom said, and she's like, and look at my dress was like this, and she was like, and then you were like, my belt, because you were sliding, so her thing was on, like she said, her slip was like tucked into her pantyhose, and so everything made sense. But at that meeting, that last one, when we said don't go there, was because you were afraid of what he was going to do, and that's why Mom didn't want you to go, and why I'm like, I don't want to stay, because what if he comes? And I'm like, no. So we all went to the Kingdom Hall, and then the last thing I remember is being cornered by the library, and he's saying, you're not going to get away with this, and we're going to send a letter to ruining your dad, and I don't care what we have to say, we're just going to say whatever's the worst thing to ruin him. And there was nothing that we could do, and then all of a sudden we were like getting ready, and we were in the car. Yeah, she had, because she was researching Watchtower for a lot when we got all those old books. I remember you guys that's how you know all your information, is because you researched. I remember her doing that a lot.
Yeah. I didn't do even a tenth of what she did.
Yeah, she knew all that, because we got all those old books. I remember her going back. Yeah. And going back. And then she had that stuff.
She'd write it all down. And I just figured if I didn't remember it, then I wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
Because I used to have a pretty good memory.
Yeah, you did. You had everything. Everything. That was the confusing part. Because I remember Mom being angry at Watchtower. Remember all those tics that I had? And she was finding out that a lot of the tics were a result of things that we were like told to do, and like when I would punch my stomach was because of the not enough bathroom breaks out in service, and I'd be nervous, and I always checked my bladder to see if I had to go, because I didn't want to like pee on the side of the road.
Yeah, we always asked if you were hungry or something, or you had a pain.
Yeah, and it was nerves due to what I had to do.
Oh, yeah.
And then she was like,
I mean, I had that sort of thing when I was a kid too. And one day
and then I picked my head bald.
Yeah.
And so she was like, I remember you guys like being upset, and you're like, we're gonna sue for damages, because you were that upset. And then you saw like what she went through, and he was gonna do it too. Like you guys were gonna do that, and I remember her.
Well, they said she was autistic, but I don't know if she really was or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she was a strange little girl.
Yeah, I remember a lot, like.
And I don't know if it's because of her parents.
Yeah.
Because both of them were
I don't know.
kind of wacko.
It almost seemed like they were brother and sister. And they had a kid, and that's the result. But yeah, I know, I just remember, like I remember you guys being angry, and I remember the reason why we were originally moving wasn't to like be witnesses again. Like I remember Mom saying, like when we were doing the thing with, and he was spying to see like all these different things, and it was like, yeah, you're spying on Watchtower, and that was like a joke. And then Mom kept all of these papers in she's like, and well, here's my proof. She'd go, here's my proof that Watchtower's lying. And she would be like, this is my proof. And she'd point. Remember how she points, and I can see it. And she's like, look, it says, she would always say the April 1st, right on my birthday, April 1st, 1972, and I were married. It says here that homosexuality and bestiality are not grounds for divorce. She's like, who could write that sort of thing? Certainly not God's channel on earth. And she got mad. And I looked up that article, and it's like, I remember that article like nothing. And she was like, this is my proof, and no more Watchtower. She's like, no more Watchtower. And then you guys like were spying a little bit to find out what other people knew and stuff. So it was
Well,
confused. Like, I remembered all that, and it's like, what made the switch? Because like, how could she be like so pissed about it? And like, and I remember that candle. It was number one, Dad, that we got you because that was our first Father's Day. We were awkward about saying it, and so we just said Dad's Day, and we got you that tennis racket and everything. And then I remember just before the move, I took the candle, and Mom's like, and we cried about it. And we're like, she's like, you've never had a birthday. She's like, this is your first birthday candle. And we lit it, and we cried. And it was like amazing. And I made a wish.
didn't come true.
Well,
You're still here.
But it's like, but then you went to the kingdom, you were going to go, and then we all went. And then all of a sudden we were back in Watchtower again. Like, I distinctly remember because you guys were like so upset.
Yeah.
I remember the first thing you guys were upset about, well, after Mom read that article, in the old books that we got at the dump, was the Divine Plan of the Ages by Charles Taze Russell, where he originally comes to 1914 because he measures the passageways of the tunnels, and he like adds them up, and he says that every inch represents a year, and that comes to 1914, and that's the original way, which that is like Freemasonry calculations and stuff. And I remember there was a chart, and it was like a 3-piece chart, and it was like all the pyramid and the topmost, like the all-seeing eye that like Albert Pike, that the Satanist
Like
has.
$1 bill.
Exactly. And that represented Christ. And he said that the pyramid was Jehovah's Witness in stone, and that it spoke to him, and that Jehovah actually built the pyramid, and then that Jehovah lives on the planet Pleiades. And it's all in that book. And I went and I downloaded it. It was like, and I'm like, yep, that's the story I remember. Because she was so upset, and she would have that, because it was real frail, and I mean, but we forgot about all that. I mean, it was like we were out, like we were moving, because that's why we were going to go where we were going to go, where nobody knew us, so we could just be ourselves. We didn't have to act like, you remember we say, no more Watchtower rules. Remember? And you're like, no more Watchtower reasoning. No more circular reasoning. And you would say that. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that. No, we came here. Actually, I talked to you about it. And when we came to visit, he said, well, they're going to open a new congregation, form a new congregation. They need brothers. And I said, well, I can come.
Yeah.
And I thought this coming down here would be much better weather, because your mom felt better, her headaches went away, and there's plenty of opportunity for work.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
one of
just
the reasons
weird.
why. One of the reasons, the major reason for health, and
Yeah.
our spiritual health too, to get away from.
Well, see, we weren't going to be witnesses, though. You know
Yeah,
what
we
I
were.
mean? No, like we had even done the candle, like me and Mom, and you were doing your very last. It was the night. I mean, I remember it specifically. It was the very last job that you had just before the move, and it was because we moved right around like New Year's or something, didn't we? I can't remember. It was
Yeah,
something
it was
around
July.
that time. But
July
we were
or August.
packing it up, and there was like all that candle, and then I made a wish. And then she used to keep a list of all the doctrine, including the one that she had it in. I mean, I remember it specifically, and what would she call it? She'd call it like Watchtower Reasoning or something. It was like and she'd be like, oh, stop being such an arbitrary ruler. You're using Watchtower Reasoning. And that was like a dig, like, don't be turning into Watchtower again, because we were trying to stop, because Mom saw like how it was hurting me, and she's like, she just wanted me to be normal and have friends, and maybe the tics would go away, and like she would yell at you about that all the time, and then it was like you'd be like, well, all of a sudden we'd forget we weren't going because it got to be such a habit going to meetings, and you're like, we just start, it's like, hey, time for meeting, oh, it's time for meeting, and you'd forget. And then you used to say, well, it's like we get hypnotized into going, and it just becomes a habit, and we forget. Oh no, we disagree with Watchtower. I forgot.
I
We
always
used to
had
talk about it all
meeting
the time.
parts, so I had to be there.
Well, I know the reason why we stuck around was because you wanted to get everybody else out. Like you're like, well, I want to go, talk to my mom, and you would talk to everybody else.
No,
And they weren't sure about, because I remember you guys talking to, like, we're already upset because of the things that happened, because it was like having such a hard time. And so everybody was kind of on the same page in Wapaton. So then when I was 5, then we moved to Millbank. And then you were going to start kind of waking up grandma and stuff. And it was like, because that's the term you use, like, we're just going to wake them up about Watchtower, and we would laugh about that. That's just weird. And because that's what it said, is that he's like, you're not going to sue Watchtower for damages, you're not going to get away with it. And so he was like, I'm going to tell everybody your dad's a pedophile if that's what you want. And I'm like, no. And so they're like, well, we're going to make sure that your parents never ever, love you again, and knew how to hypnotize you. I mean, you even admitted it. You admitted it all the time. And you remember it. He could hypnotize you. He made you guys act like snakes, and he said that if I say anything, you won't remember anything, and that we're not gonna. Because remember what a tight family we were. We backed ourselves up against, and it didn't matter. If it was Watchtower doing something to you guys, I'm like, or if anybody, it didn't matter. But all of a sudden, when that happened, because I couldn't go under, like, thought everybody else could, because I was always real clever. He'd give me those puzzles. He paid special attention to me in that manner. And I think he thought that I would think it was funny. And then maybe that's why he included me, because remember, he would always give me all those puzzles. And he would show me his train set all the time. And he took a special interest in me. And I remember Mom even being afraid, because she's like, I'm just afraid they're trying to adopt me and, like, get you guys to, like, give me up. Because they're like, I don't know what it is. It's like they both have, secret powers over us, and we just end up doing things for them. And that time it was like, yeah, because he's hypnotizing you, and I don't know what to do because he's making you do things you don't want to do. And then I was afraid, like, what do I do? And he would do it with that bell, and he would click his pen 3 times. And I don't know if you have a bell around. Did you have a clicky pen? It could, honestly, because when I looked at this one thing, like this weird hypnotizing ring, I remember it clear as day. Like, I always had those memories, and I could never remember his face. It was like he had erased himself out of existence. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, and in the trains, he even, I don't remember the nail in the tire when they were staying over, or they weren't staying over, they came for dinner, and then I was inside, everybody was inside, and I was like, oh, it would be nice if you guys could sleep over. And they're like, no, we have to get back. And I'm like, oh, well, you have a nail in your tire anyway, so you'll have to stay at least for another couple hours. And they're like, what do you mean we have a nail in our tire? And I'm like, I don't know. I just think you have a nail. I don't know why I said it. And he thought the reason why I said it is because I put the nail in his tire, but I didn't know why I said it. So then my mom's like, well, I don't know, maybe she's clairvoyant. And then he started taking an interest in me, and he would give me those puzzles, and he would always, like, quiz and do all those kinds of things. But after the meetings, I remember you and Mom just sitting there like zombies, and you'd sit there for a long, long time. And then you'd kind of, rouse up, and you'd be like, oh goodness, I can't believe it's after already, 15 after 11. You know, what have we been doing? Just sitting here? I mean, she would say that exact thing, and it's like, well, yeah, Ma, you were.
Yeah. I always had to go home and finish my job, so that never happened.
You'd be disoriented. I mean, and the you said you remember the clothing being weird. I honestly.
You know, I think the best thing is just forget me.
Because what he put in that letter about you is exact, but they were both in on it.
No, because Tom, they weren't, because they didn't even like each other when it came down to the end.
Yeah.
Because when I was leaving, he said, I'm going to leave. I'm going to some, they want to use me there, and I'll be a substitute circuit overseer. And he said, I need a letter to the congregation there to introduce me. And I said, he said, I know that won't write anything good, but I need you to promise me that it won't be a bad letter. And I said, no, I won't. It'll have to be the truth, what's ever in the letter.
Mom, yeah, you were hard.
And he wrote a letter, and he said,
why wouldn't you say anything good though? See, this is the part where you can't remember a lot, like I can.
Well, I read the letter. He said, sign it. I said, I'm not signing it. You can't put this in.
I mean, you remember? You just don't want to be saying.
I remember the letter.
No, but do you remember why you wouldn't write something nice about him?
No, I wanted to write something nice about him, because when you recommend to another congregation that they use him as a brother, you don't start pointing out their faults, because if you can't deal with their faults when they're in your congregation, then you have no.
But you were making it sound like you weren't gonna write a nice letter.
No, I wasn't going to write a nice letter about them.
Okay.
So I said, well, you make up the letter, and I'll read it, and we'll send it off. So he wrote a letter, and he had some very unkind things to say about it, which were not true.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they were not true.
He did some. I remember.
Yeah, but there were things that he said. Oh, no, this isn't. He's not this way. You know, if you don't like the way he handled certain things, or the way he drove his car or whatever, you talk to him while he's in the congregation and get it ironed out. But you don't write something nasty and send it to somebody else and let them try to deal with something they know nothing about.
Yeah.
I said, you rewrite it, take this and this and this out of there, and then I'll sign it. So he did that.
Is anything similar to what I'm saying? Because I mean.
No. So anyway, then, I had told him that I would make sure that the letter that followed would be appropriate. And so then later on, when I talked to him, he said, things are doing good here. I'm being used. I'm a substitute circuit overseer. And he said, it's working out good. And I said, I'm glad for you.
I don't think you would.
But I said, when it comes time for me to leave, it's not going to be that way. And it wasn't. He came to me, he said, I got to write a letter, and you're going to have a lot of things to live down. It'll take you a while to live them down. I said,
what things? I know what things. But I mean, he was accusing you of being apostate. That's why they pick on you at the meetings about everything you say. Because the story I'm telling you is what happened. And that's exactly what's in the letter.
Well, I didn't read the letter. They wouldn't let me read the letter.
Because they think that you were a full-blown apostate, because you were. And for some reason you don't remember. Well, you changed congregations and you were acting like you wanted to be back. But they would never, that is the only reason why they don't let you give talks, because they don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. That's why they were so scrutinizing everything you said, because I was thinking about what you had commented on, and you were commenting on things almost because you were going by old light, And they were thinking, it's like, oh, is he doing now? Is he kind of changed and gone back? Well, he's got that letter that he was like a rip roaring, is what they put, a rip roaring apostate, Mom. And so it was like,
Mom didn't see the letter. She knew nothing about that.
no, that was one of the worries. She's like, oh, it probably says he was a rip roaring, and I would be like, yeah, and I'm a rip roaring apostate. Do you remember that? No,
there were things. If I made a comment or your mom made a comment, people were upset because they didn't agree with what the scriptures said.
Yeah, well, it's because
a lot of the problems,
because they read a new light that may be a little different from what you have seen it. Like they may point to, like, say, Joel or something, and they may view it one way in this one, but then they may view it a little differently over here. So when that person's answering, they're answering from what they're reading in this one, but you may have skipped that one, so you're listening to this one. And so when that change happens, there is kind of a slight tip where then it's like, oh, I didn't know that. And so then it's like, oh, I guess I need to change my view because now this one says something a little different. I'm gonna try and think of an example, but
well, the problems that the differences in opinion that I had with the elders had to do with how to treat disfellowshipped ones.
Yeah, you've always taken more of the extreme.
No, I just took
like
it
all
word
or
for
nothing.
word. I still have the magazines.
Well, that is, when it comes to those extreme rules, you are basing it somewhat on someone else's opinion of how strict they want to take it, because not everybody is going to have the same feeling, so they're not thinking you're going to
what
be
the scriptures say.
In there, though.
And the society has changed their viewpoint in a little different ways about treating disfellowshipped ones.
Yeah. But you don't, so you almost apostatize by staying behind and not going forward with new light.
No,
well, yeah, that's what it is.
One viewpoint they had, which was, to me, the correct viewpoint, they made a couple of changes in it, and then later on they went back to the other viewpoint. So no big deal to me, because I believe what I want to, what the scriptures say. And,
but okay,
and even
but see, if they're
written,
jumping back and forth, how can you believe them in the first place? If they're jumping back and forth, why would you take, just because it's their first answer? Their first answer may have been wrong, because either their second answer was wrong or one was wrong. So at some point, the publication you're basing your entire life on can be wrong at sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And it can hurt people.
I've heard brothers say that the Watchtower is infallible. No, it's not.
But then why would someone, if something's not infallible, why would they risk everything knowing that it could maybe hurt somebody, like maybe cause somebody to commit suicide or refuse a certain treatment because Watchtower said it at this point? If you know that it's not infallible, why would you ever do that? It's kind of like basing your life on Time magazine and their history.
In that viewpoint you have, then why even read it at all?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's wrong.
Why?
Because we have a faithful and discreet slave class which is guiding us in this time of the end. They're imperfect people. They make mistakes. And that's why they have writing committees. We have groups of people. They'll each do their different writings, then they review it and go over and over and over. It's in sometimes like a year or more in the making before it's actually printed.
Well, I guess maybe that's where it is the faithful and discreet slave. Like my viewpoint of them is a little different.
Well, what did Jesus say?
Well, he asked a question. He didn't, who really is? Like it could be like, who knows?
No.
Well, he did. He said, "Who really is?" But they self-appoint themselves, and they're like, "He means me."
No, it's not self-appointed.
Well, who did appoint him? It just says, "Who really is." It doesn't
Yeah.
say.
Who is the faithful and true slave?
It could be anybody.
Back then, there was a governing body in Jerusalem, which it was
But
spirit
those
appointed.
Jerusalem ones
It was
don't
spirit
have a
appointed.
list of who they handed it down to.
No.
There is no king list, so anybody could say that.
Yeah.
Anybody
They
could.
would be of the anointed.
Anybody can say that.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely
It's
anybody.
between them and Jehovah.
But that lets anybody in office. Anybody. There's
Yeah.
not even an interview or you take
But-
their word for
But
it.
if you really believe that Jesus is the head of the congregation, he is going to have certain control over things. He's not going to right away say, well, you out, you out, and you in.
But I mean, honestly, anybody could say that.
There are those that claim they
I guess
were
what
of the
makes you
anointed.
convinced?
It's based on faith. I mean, there were brothers even here in Tucson that
Faith
said
that they're telling you the truth?
that Jehovah's Spirit has anointed them. I mean, we don't know. It's the Spirit that says, Abba, Father.
So it's like a gamble.
No, it's based on faith. It's not a gamble.
Well, I
Faith
guess a
is a
gamble
sure
on whether
thing.
they're telling you the
Faith
truth
is
or
a
not.
sure thing.
What?
Faith is a sure thing.
No, it's,
You're sure of
sure-
the expectations of what Jehovah's going to do.
well, I have faith that I'm gonna live till 90, but like I have faith, like I hope
Well,
for it. Faith is like a
why do you
hope.
want to live so
Well,
short of a
faith is
life?
a hope of an expectation that you think is gonna happen, that you're pretty sure is gonna happen.
Assured expectation.
Assured expectation, yeah.
So if you have real faith, you'll move a mountain.
Not really.
No. But who walked on water to meet Jesus? And then when he started to sink,
Yeah.
have little faith.
So I
His
get.
faith wavered. So faith is strong,
Mm,
but we don't have perfect faith.
no.
And
Well,
if we did,
how do you think? How do you think they get the spiritual food though?
it's in the Bible.
What do you mean?
If you go beyond what the scripture says, you're wrong. I mean, if you want to speculate
Well, no,
on
like
things,
the channel of communication that they use. That
the
they
Bible.
no, they say they have a spirit directed channel of communication,
That's
and
the
that
Bible.
no, the channel
The Bible
ever
was-
since Russell's time, he's always gotten it through his mind, and for a long time, in that book, he said that it took 8 days. Transmission took 8 days, and that
No.
they even said to write the
No,
finished
you're
mystery.
You're going back to the apostate things again.
No,
I don't wanna go
that's
there.
just in his book. I'm just
No.
remember it from his book, The Divine Plan of the Ages and Great Pyramid, where he measured the measurements.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
from the
well,
book
throw,
that we had.
Throw that book away because we don't go by that book. If you go by that book, then you're way off base.
Well, I know. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like,
Why would you want to go by something that
I don't know
Isn't
why
that
you
right?
would continue to go by it either.
I don't?
If it
I go by the
originally,
Bible.
if 1914 originally came because he measured the pyramid and said it was God's Jehovah's Stone Witness, why would you ever believe it in the first place? If
I
that's
didn't believe
original,
that.
1914,
The year 1914.
that's how he
Let's
came
see.
upon that date.
No, I never heard that.
Here,